Hey, we're going live here in a few minutes on Never Been Promoted with Rishi Khanna. This guy is, he knows startups and he knows why they're running out of cash faster than ever. So stay tuned. In a couple minutes, we'll be back. Let's get out there. Go unleash that entrepreneur. Welcome to the Never Been Promoted podcast and YouTube channel. I'm on a mission to help you cut the time to all the things that are holding you back so you can unleash your entrepreneur. Welcome to Never Been Promoted. Hi, I'm your host, Thomas Helfrich. I am joined today by Rishi Khanna. He is the CEO of iShare or eShare. See, I'm going to mispronounce it, and I do it intentionally, so I repeat it 100 times. So you go look it up, eShare, iShare. He's going to explain which it is. But here's the deal. It's about innovation acceleration. And, you know, we were talking off camera then about the topic today about why startups are running out of cash faster than ever. And he has been in this since since I've graduated college, he's been doing this. So he's got a bit more experience than I have, and he has stayed focused on innovation and helping startups. He lives the world. He's in the world, heavily followed on LinkedIn. I'm so excited to have this conversation because the world has changed since the dot-com boom. We've had we've going through another time where companies were taking lots of money, and we're going to talk about why they're running out of cash, because it doesn't make sense, right? Why there's so much money in the world? Why are people running out of cash still? So we're going to talk about that. Now, before we get going, I do want you to know our mission. It is to help entrepreneurs get better at entrepreneurship, specifically help them cut the tide, all that shit holding them back. That's your fears, your excuses, versions of yourself you probably need to let go, maybe people in your life you need to get away from. That's what we're here to do. And I want you to learn from our guests about their journey, about what they're doing for the world today and what they think about the future. And our guest, who we're going to bring on after I do this small shameless plug, go to youtube.com. Subscribe at Never Been Promoted. Now, if you're a listener, I'm going to put the smooth voice on so you get this right. I want you to go get a 5-star review. That's right, 5 stars, not 4, 5. And a gentle review that says this podcast kicks ass. Okay, enough shameless plugs. Mr. Rishi, how are you?
Very well. Thanks for having me.
You know, people are like, man, it's a 5-minute intro. Too bad. If you ever listen to Joe Rogan, I know he's way bigger and he makes hundreds of millions of dollars. He gets like 9, 20, 30 minutes of just ads. It's like going to a movie theater. I can go eat an entire thing of popcorn and drink a Pepsi. No, who drinks Pepsi? Dump a Pepsi on the floor and replace it with Coke. I'm in Atlanta. There's no Pepsi down here. Anyway.
How about Poppy?
What's that?
That's a new drink everyone's drinking.
Oh, no.
What have you been drinking?
I drink water and coffee. 2 essentials from the earth. Thanks for joining. Now, where do you reside as home?
Plano, Texas. I'm in Texas.
It'd been funny if you were like, I am from. It's when I am, not where I am, because you have the cassettes behind you. And so, for those listening, he has a very cool piece of art. I'm going to call it in the background that are cassettes. I mean, they're like. You want to talk about Tell me about that a little. I love when people have creative things in the background, and it's supposed to call for conversation. And we need an icebreaker, so it's your turn. Well, tell me about that a little bit.
Well, it's just old cassette tapes, all stuck together, and one of my first few movies I watched was E.T., and that's in the middle of that frame. So, I just, have a little play with old cassettes and put this thing together.
I'd have so many more questions if they were Betamax. Never mind. For those who know, they know. And those who don't, they'll like, I don't get that joke. Google it. Anyway, Rishi, listen, thanks so much for jumping on. You've been in this game for a long time. Is it iShare or Ishir?
We call it iShare. Yeah, we pronounce it as iShare. It could be either, but you rightly said it could be either, but we name it as iShare, or we call it as iShare.
Do you want to start with kind of, just give me the 60-second pitch on what you guys do today, and back up? And I mean, you've been doing this a long time too. So back up to your journey, and let's learn a little bit from what you've learned along your journey.
Sure. So, as iShare, we are an innovation digital product studio here in Dallas. And we have teams that work for us not only locally in DFW, but also in Latin America, Eastern Europe, and of course, India. And so we work with venture-backed startups. We work with mid-market enterprise customers, helping them through accelerated innovation, leveraging our deep technical expertise, and leveraging global talent along the way to make sure that we help solve the most complex problems for them.
When you have to say it again, right? Deep technical problem solved.
Deep technical problem solved.
We'll get your radio voice going. I mean, that's whenever you say the word.
Yeah,
deep,
I'm learning.
You want to say deep. You didn't do that. I'm just saying you never go high on deep. If you say the word deep technical, then you're on movie trailer time. Deep technical problem solved by teams from India.
Deep.
We'll talk about that. How did you even know to do this?
Well, interestingly, I've been building software as a developer since I was in third grade. I got exposed to developing software when I was in school, and really had a passion for doing this for the longest time. And then I helped my dad with building his website in 1994, 1995 to help his business. And I realized that this is something I really enjoy doing. I want to do more of it. So,
well, I mean, it's amazing. So, tell me about your story. So tell me about the journey of building the company, how you named it, maybe just pick a moment that you were like your biggest teaching moment of being an entrepreneur.
Well, growing up, both my parents are entrepreneurs. They both had their own individual businesses. And so it seems that it was in the DNA. And then when my sister is older than me, she also got into a business for herself. And so it seems that it was in the DNA of the family. But when I came to the U.S., when I came to UT Austin to study, go from undergrad, I actually thought I'll take a different path. I'll go and get into consulting and work for Deloitte, which I did for the first 16 months. And then I realized, you know what? No, I needed to go and build something. I needed to control my my destiny. And so I decided to start a company doing something I really enjoy doing, which was building software and helping solve business problems. And having done that for my dad and a few some of his friends early, I felt that was something that I needed to do. So that's what got me started in '99.
What does iShare stand for?
Well, iShare was I couldn't come up with a name for the company back when, and then so someone came up to me and said, "Hey, you know what? Oprah can call her company Harpo. Why don't you figure out a name?" And then I said, "Well, if I really truly put my name backwards, it won't really make any sense." So I took the R from the front of my name and put it on the back, and it became iShare. And I didn't know it meant anything when I first named the company, but very very soon found out that the name had a meaning. It meant sun god or the rising sun. So it has something to do with the sun. So yeah.
I was baiting the hook with the fish already on it, right? I mean, I was like, come on, it's your name backwards. But when we had talked off camera, you had talked about this, like, it's God adjacent is what I took from it. So it's not truly a God company but it's God adjacent. So basically when you're talking to Rishi, you're talking to a God adjacent human in the acceleration. So just be careful the words you use and what you wish for, because it might happen. You never know. Is that too strong? Maybe not.
Interesting fun fact is my name is Rishi, which means I'm a saint. So I have something to do with God anyway.
Yeah, right. You're a saint. Then you go backwards.
Spiritual.
Sun God. Sun avatar. God. You're a sun avatar. Um,
Yeah.
when you're building your company, tell me about getting your first client. How did you do that?
Well, interestingly, my first clients, I started my business in the dot-com era, if you want to call it, and there was a lot of business to be had and just not enough companies to service them. So my first few customers came through, friends of family and my personal network in Dallas, and there were some of these people starting their dot-com, so to speak. And so the first few customers came pretty easy. It was just through the personal network.
There's no struggle there. No one wants to hear about an easy story, man.
I know, it wasn't. But you know what? The struggle came soon after. I can tell you more about that.
We're going to dive into it. But I think the point, I always try to find these like little reflective moments. You got into something that you already had a network established, and you leveraged assets around you. So, having, I think when people get like into entrepreneurship, it's okay to start where you know something or know someone, because getting that first customer for many is the biggest tie they can't get over. That's the thing that holds them back. Like, well, how am I going to get a customer? Like, well, if you don't know that, then yeah, you should, you might want to take a pause, because you need that customer to validate, and they got to be a friendly, because they got to be like, hey, you suck at this. You're good at that. I love this. Did you think of this? And if you don't have that, your chance of success, it's a grind. It's even worse. Speaking from experience, I was the one like, how am I going to get a customer? And somehow we fell into it, but truly felt like I tripped and, oh, I have a customer. Tell me about what got hard though. So you set up well, and then what?
So set up well, got a few customers going, but then, we got hit by dot-com bust, right? So a lot of the funding that some of these dot-com companies had got pulled out. And so here I was got a quick start, but then almost went out of business the first couple of months in the company. So dot-com bust happened soon after. Financial pullback.
So you had to pull back, and did you pull back just yourself at that point, or did you have to hold on to a few people?
No, I realized that I needed to have a core team, and so no, I didn't pull back as much on the team. I pulled back on the business. And I realized that I needed to be without a paycheck. I needed to make sure I keep funding what I'm doing. And I was passionate about it. I just got it started. Didn't want to give up so soon. And so I kept our people closer.
Yeah, you different scale, maybe in a different time. I 100% agree. Like, I have a core team I've had the entire time. Like, since they've been added on, we have not, in the last 4 years, I've kept them. And we've had times where I'm like, hey guys, I need you to take a pay cut for a few months. And because like I'm not getting paid at all. Anyway, so we've been there and done that. And to me, it's protecting that team that's really core by all costs necessarily, because you are going to bounce back, especially if you have something that people need. Innovation didn't stop just because there was a dot-com bust. It just changed who was able to do it, right? Like the big companies still had money. And did you have to pivot over to more corporate type accounts versus startups for a while?
I did. I had to pivot to established businesses. At that point, it was more like a struggle to work with anyone who was willing to leverage and use our services. And so we did pivot.
Well, and one thing that happens when people maybe don't realize that when you have downturn in market, someone's always making money in any market. And if what happens, especially in that one, you have all these companies that were serving the startup community that all of a sudden were basically out of jobs. So now your competitive levels to the bigger companies, holy cow, like the competition gets crazy. And you've weathered it, you've survived it. But now as things come and go, I would think, have multi-channels to help anyone with innovation, because you've suffered through both and made relationships and endured. Fair statement? Fair statement.
Yeah. Gone through a lot of those in 24 years of business.
Yeah. Do you have a flagship moment when you're like, I'm going to be okay. No matter what's going to happen. I mean, if you survive .com fallout, by the way, I just got better at golf for a year. That's what I did. I took a year off and just played golf. Wasn't thinking like you to build a company. I should have been. Anyway, did you have a moment where you were like, I'm going to be able to survive anything?
Yeah. So when I did pivot into finding customers in a different sort of marketplace, other than startups or in this case .coms, I got hit by another thing. It was called 9/11, right? And that brought in a lot of taboo against working with teams which are remote and out of the country. And that was another pivotal moment where I felt that here I am again, almost going out of business. Um, and then there was that realization after surviving 9/11 was that, hey, nothing can stop me now. I needed to keep building and growing, and we fought through the financial crisis in 2008, and then the pandemic hit a few years ago, and then we were able to fight that. So I think the company became very resilient. Teams became resilient, and I take pride in having had a lot of the team members that were with me early on in the game 25 years ago are still in the company, and so we got a chance to have that the fighting spirit to go to go back there and fight it.
It's funny, like every about 9 years, there's an issue. I think we're almost due for another one. About 3 years, we're due for another one. So
yeah,
I don't know what the next bubble is going to be. Because I don't know where any of the money is right now. Can't be crypto. That's too. But the point is, you're weathering it and you're getting through it. And I think some key pieces there. You said so. One, you're an innovative company, which I hope you can innovate your way through the problem of whatever faces you. But you're doing some key things. You're using technology, which I know from another conversation with you. But you're leveraging technology in your business. You're also using labor arbitrage or outsourcing, and you're not just limiting it to one country. Correct? You're looking at different markets for different skill sets, but also, for example, if you had been using people in Ukraine, you would have had a problem because that got disrupted for a good 18 months till people have resettled and moved and back on it. So maybe talk about your strategy a little behind, I guess, how you've helped de-risk, increase profits, but still not drop the ball on delivery.
Yeah. So, initially our business was primarily targeting, working with talent locally in DFW and India, because I was very early in leveraging offshore resources in India. But then we soon realized that there was talent, everywhere, but the opportunities weren't. And so our goal was 7-8 years ago was to start finding talent and very skilled talent in other parts of the world. And then we started expanding beyond Indian borders or US borders. And then that's where we stumbled upon talent in Latin America and Eastern Europe. And then we've worked on finding very passionate people, working for us in those markets. And that's what that has allowed us to de-risk against any of the world talent challenges which we may have had during the pandemic, but also de-risk against any of these things that we have no control over, whether it's a Ukraine war or what's happening in Israel and those kind of things.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and good for you for doing that, because now you have a global organization. It's just now only global stuff that's when the playing field's kind of level, meaning like COVID hit everyone, financial crisis kind of hit everyone. Like when you're in a better position as a company, you're going to survive it financially, culture, whatever have you. Good for you for not being the one that had like, a bad cocaine problem or something. And you're like, I really need all that money, or maybe you had it. I don't know. The distant point is you clearly didn't, or you wouldn't have survived it. Did you see how I did that? Like, this guy doesn't do these things, but that's the fun of it. People are like, really? I'm like, no, he didn't. Just having fun, people. Remember, slow voice. He solves deep. You want to try it
again? Deep.
Very good. Deep technology problems. There.
Technology problems.
Today. So talk about innovation a bit. And specifically, let's go to innovative companies, which were startups. So startups are companies with solutions looking for problems to solve at times. Tell me why they're running out of cash faster.
I think you said it, as well, in that. So a lot of companies really jump into building software products without really truly understanding the problem they're trying to solve for. And that's one of the reasons where they do not sort of achieve product market fit and sort of run out of cash, because they don't have enough money to pivot that solution. And, I tend to use the terminology that it's almost like a hammer looking for a nail. Some of these software products they don't know who their ICP is, who their, ideal customer profile is. And so they really aren't able to survive. And that's what's happening right now in the startup world, is that, the fundamentals are being emphasized on by the investors is that, hey, let's go down to the basics. Do we have a product? Does it solve a problem? Who is the customer, and is the customer willing to pay for it?
Yeah, well, right, because I think more and more, at least my understanding is, my opinion is, obviously 99% of the companies in the world will never raise a single dollar from institution venture capital. They don't qualify. They never will, but they've been sold to the lie of Shark Tank and other stuff. And truthfully, like most companies just go, the post was go, start raising hell, stop raising funds kind of thing. Just go ring the cash register, go solve a problem, solve it with manual processes that look automated in the back, or whatever you got to do. Just go make money. Because if you do, then you have the problem market fit found. And then you can apply technology and build tech around it. And in a lot of these companies, or maybe I've seen this when I talk to people, maybe you've seen this because you're in the weeds with it. A lot of the stuff they're building can be solved with a small bastardized version of Go High Level or some other technology I can go rent for $30 or $100 a month. Are you seeing that sometimes where they haven't even done the research of, hey, how could I solve that problem with existing technology in a way that would be acceptable, that wouldn't cost, $1 million?
I think that the main thing is the first start is that, do we know the problem? Do we know who has the problem? And do we know, is the problem real? And does that problem can be solved with tools which are already out there, right? And so because we don't really take the pain to validate the problem upfront, and we don't even take the pain to talk to the users that have the issue, we tend to build something that nobody wants. It's almost like, because people have this thing that build it and they will come, and really nobody comes.
Wait. You're telling me if I don't make the most killer app ever, people aren't going to just show up and buy it? What?
That's right.
Crazy. Do you have a really good representative example of where you saw a company where and actually this is kind of like, I don't call it shameless plug, but where they had a really good they were a hammer trying to hit stuff, and you're like, hey, listen, you built the best claw, which is the other side of the hammer. You just don't even realize it. Have you seen where those flips where the innovations actually, you have awesome tech solving the absolutely wrong problem?
I would just say I wouldn't even talk about tech. I would just say that we had a scenario where a customer was a big content producer, and they wanted to build an app to really publish the content that they were producing in video content. And we realized after running through Innovation Acceleration that, hey, you know what? There's another way to channel that content. It doesn't have to be in YouTube. It doesn't have to be in a mobile app in that format. But it has a benefit. It has a value, and it needs to be a benefit that needs to be sold to a corporation as a health benefit. And that's what totally transformed the business. So it was the same sort of content. It's just how we packaged it into a solution that led to a J curve, so to speak, and then they finally got bought by a large healthcare company.
Do you think the word innovation might be, or is there another word more overused than innovation? Leading the way.
Right now, innovation is overused.
I think it has been for years. Where I think it's funny, a funny like POV video where I'm like, let's innovate. I'm like, all right. Anyway, like some companies that I've worked for say, hey, we're going to be very innovative. We're going to go do this. And then you get in the weeds of being disruptive and all you hear are no's. Do you help companies solve that problem? And if so, how do you get the lagger, no saying company who says they're going to innovate just because it's on the CEO's list to actually break through? Because I personally have not really ever seen it in my own corporate world. Now, I've also just never been promoted, been asked to leave plenty of times, so I'm probably not the right person. But outside of these giant ones like Apple or some, HP or somebody coming up with something cool like NVIDIA, where is it? Like, how do you do it? How does a company break through?
Well, I think it really boils down to, are you getting excited about the technology and the tech stack that's getting you? Like, for example, AI right now, right? Every conversation, everyone talks about AI, but AI is a cool tool. But is that really solving the problem? And so people getting excited about it. Everyone's sort of, I don't think any conference goes without any conversation goes without talking about AI. But the reality is that it could be cool, but does it really solve the problem? Is it are the leaders in an organization just pushing people to go ahead and build something with AI, or is it about, hey, let's try to find the true pain that we're trying to solve with it, is validate the pain, and see if AI can really solve it. Do we have the data to support that solution? So those are kind of things that people aren't really questioning, and that's just why people also realizing is that after they've maybe invested a year and a half into the initiative, that they're really not getting the ROI, and so there's a delayed ROI in the process.
The when an AI kind of first hit, right? It was what was it? Websites got like a 30% SEO boost if they put the word or something, like they got something like a stock boost. That's what it was. Their shares went up if they had the word with an AI initiative. It was something ridiculous like that. Another favorite thing is, I'd love to hear your take on is helping people understand that AI is not automation. And I'd love to hear your take on, should AI and automation be together at this point?
I think people tend to use them interchangeably, thinking that AI is automation. But no, AI is augmenting the intelligence of the people that may be using it. But you're not automating intelligence. You're not sort of you're leveraging the data to help you make better decisions at this point. That's a step one. So no, you're not, like, even if you look at it from the standpoint of Tesla and FSD, people think, hey, FSD is going to solve my driving problem. But what they're saying is, hey, we're augmenting the driver to help make better decisions, help help drive the car, but they still have to hold the steering wheel, right? It's augmenting.
So I'm with you on this one. I don't think you should automate anything with AI right now that's not transactional, meaning like define clear binary answer. But that's not even why you would use AI anyway. You don't need AI for that. You need a script.
Yeah.
Where there's contextual data, the AI should, I think, be automated to provide insight and perspective. So a human can still make the decision, of which the AI can learn from. That could be automated, the learning. But I think when people look at like more simpler things, let's say for somebody like, should I automate my outreach on LinkedIn or the content creation or commenting? The answer to that is 100% no. Because you think about innovative products that are misused. Those are some that are going on with, I use LinkedIn as an example because it's just become so noisy, and other, Instagram, there's so many bots, and these are all causes of people using things incorrectly. Let me talk about, go over to yours now. So some of your customers, do you have any stories where you see someone innovating and you just see them going down a path of this is like destruction for your company? And I mean that because I think people sometimes innovate themselves and out, like they become so niche. Or do you have an example of that where in maybe a buyer beware or a tale of a lesson to be learned by doing that?
Are you trying to say an example of how BlackBerry sort of got out of business, or one of those examples?
Something like that, right? Where you've seen someone, a very innovative company, do it so poorly because they were so into the innovation and less around the business problem.
I mean, that is true. I mean, when you are so immersed into tech, but the tech doesn't really solve any problem, you really have no business to solve, right? And you are going to run out of cash at some point. So there are companies that are so involved in tech and they pivot just to sort of go out of business. So I won't say we've seen it in our customers, but I've seen that in the industry, observing that some of these bright ideas that started off with that weren't really clear about the pain, they sort of went out of business.
Yeah, it's sorry, misclicking in the background there, trying to bring my face back to the screen. Tell me about what you think about the future. So where's innovation going? What are you concerned about, or what are you excited about?
I think people innately, as entrepreneurs, we want to innovate, we want to solve problems, but I think we have to solve the problems that we are very passionate about, and we need to find problems that we want to commit ourselves to. I see a lot of going to a bunch of these startup events. We see a lot of people who are sort of every 6 months or every year, I see them with a new problem and new startup they want to start, and they very proudly say, I'm on my 5th startup. I mean, why? Why are you on your 5th startup? Why could you be on your first one at this point if you've only been a year, right? But I think the issue is that people need to need to stop getting enamored by the next big trend or next big thing. I mean, they need to be enamored by the problem that they feel most passionate about, and then help solve that. And I think that's what the thing is about. So I think innovation needs to be. I think people need to be true to themselves and true to the purpose that they're in for, and that will help them find the right thing to resolve over time.
And go ahead.
No, finish.
No, I see. Like going back to kind of the idea, the theme of why companies startups run out of money. Part of it is just cash flow management, right? And so in the 90s, you saw companies burn through money with glamorous like office space and trips and like they burnt the money for culture, but it was like just party money. Like you saw that tons, just waste of just capital that wasn't business focused. It was other focused, fun focused. When you see like companies today though, and they look at it differently, maybe from more on a P&L standpoint, labor arbitrage or outsourcing and using technology is so fundamental for running a more lean company nowadays. The Lean Startup, great book. Get out there, try it, do it fast, go do it again, right? Specifically around the labor arbitrage, because you seem like you have a lot of global. I'd love to hear your take on like markets you'd like. How does someone go around picking the right one, either by culture, personality, like just kind of take a few moments on how you're picking partners to work with globally.
Well, we work with we don't pick partners. We actually work with talent, right? We find the most. We try to find most passionate talent around the globe. They are passionate about the skills that they're trying to build. They could be passionate about design. They could be passionate about DevOps or whatever. The reality is that we're looking for people who are very passionate about what they do, and they're very purposeful about doing that. They're not chasing money, wealth, what have you. They are really they want to invest in themselves and become better every day. And that's the kind of people we try to partner with. And then there are skills which are available in certain markets and not in the others. For example, we go to Spain and Portugal for user experience talent. We go to Eastern Europe for talent that is more embedded technology. So there's different skill sets available in different markets that we tend to tap into.
Do you have any markets you just don't go to?
Well, I don't think we have said no to any markets. I think we sort of focus on the people and the passion. So no, we haven't. I mean, even today, I mean, if you talk about Ukraine and there are a lot of people in Ukraine looking for jobs, and some people have been displaced to other markets close to Ukraine just to keep things alive. So no, we don't really say no to people or talent or any markets.
I was baiting you to see if you take a polarizing angle on that, and I was going to call.
Sorry.
When you're I said people, if you have a country that's needing help, the best way to help them is hire them. So if you can do that, that helps people work, helps people stay focused, helps people grow businesses, which really do help communities and things like that. Outside of your take of any wars or any perspective, that helps people to work. That helps people to get paid for things they do. If there's a question I probably should have asked you today, though I didn't, what would that question be?
Well, I think it'll be what is my purpose and why am I doing what I do? Would that be a good question to ask?
What is your purpose and why is it you do what you do? See how that came to me? It's crazy.
So early on I did not know my purpose, and then when I did discover what my real true purpose was, it turned out that it was about making an impact. And I think the business is my opportunity to make an impact not only on the people that we work with globally to help solve customers' problems, but also the impact that we make through them in the communities. And so being purposeful and having other people in the organization find their purpose and what their life plan is and what they're intending to and how they become intentional about where they're going with their life really keeps me awake and keeps me really engaged in doing what I do every day. So that's what it's all about, helping people basically live life by design rather than by default, and being purposeful and more intentional about what they do every day.
I have to drink. If I drank alcohol still, I'd have to drink for talking on mute. I tend to do that when I'm sneezing in the background. I think leaving a life by design is a very smart idea. But for the younger viewer out there, I would say that doesn't mean you don't work. That doesn't mean you expect everything given to you. It just means you try to do things that are more purposefully driven. So working for companies aligned to something you believe in, at least in that moment. That may change every 5-10 years for you, like, what you truly believe in or what you like. But the idea is, I think that brings more happiness. And I think if you have companies that are founded, startup or whatever, that are around a central purpose, that, hey, this should help do our impact for fill in the blank, I think you get more people that are aligned to that. And I think that creates better places. So I think, no one can judge you no one should judge you, in my opinion, for not knowing what it is and why you do things. Only know that you've been called to some direction and you're going to go do it. It sounds like that's what happened. Do you do anything to give back with entrepreneurs or any community stuff that you do to kind of help enable? And if so, I hope the answer is yes, because I'm leading, but I think you do. So tell me about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, first of all, helping people find their own passion and purpose in life is one of the give backs that we do, and we do that by having life planning exercises and giving them life coaches and life coaching. That is the impact that we do within the organization. But that sort of also helps people who achieve and receive those to help do that for others. But apart from this, we have a social cause that we solve every month. So depending on the month it is, if it is let's say it's February, it's sort of a month of love, and we actually pass on chocolates, and we have a matching scenario where we go to schools and underprivileged kids, or even we help give chocolates away. And so things like that nature allows us to spread some love and passion. If it is it's a month of July, then people are starting off schools in different parts of the world. So we create backpacks, and we load it up with the right colors and books and those kind of things, and we give those away as their new school year kits, and we do that for the underprivileged kids and people.
I love that. When you can achieve some level of success, I think that's a calling, because I already know I have it. I don't have enough success really to do it outside of time and some advice and a podcast, I guess, right now. When you're looking at how you help people, you have a personal brand called the Stoic Leader, and I think having a personal brand is super important to your growth. For one, it helps you center around something that's important to your life, right? And I think that's why I think people don't realize the power of a personal brand, because it becomes, if it's true and it's real, it's tied to your personality, it's tied to your purpose, and it's not something you can discover. And so when you developed yours, tell me about why you picked the Stoic Leader, because I love what you have there. I want people to kind of hear that piece of it.
Well, I started reading a lot about Stoicism, and I got really fascinated by it. And I felt that the biggest challenge that we're trying to solve is our own and our own internal struggles. And then as I read about it, I felt that that's the kind of change I want to bring in myself, because I feel when there's a problem, I have to first look inwards before I look outwards. Yeah. And that this allows me to have deep thoughts and deep thinking with myself, and allow me to become a better person, a better leader every day. And so that's the more like internalization and of thoughts that allows me to become more, I would say, externally more intentional.
Yeah, that idea is actually something I communicated to my son this morning, taking him to school. He sits, I don't know what we were talking about, but oftentimes the next words out are, "It's not my fault." And I said, if you could remove those words from your vocabulary and own whatever part you are accountable for, it's not always fault. Sometimes it's wins too, right? Your internal reflection of what you'll do in the world will so multiply, because you'll be looking for ways to solve whatever the challenge is versus blaming others for why you can't do or be. Mm-hmm. And I see this a lot in kids in general, and I see this a lot in young adults and in some 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds. But I think what you're describing there is someone who is inner reflective yourself, that's looking to solve a problem, saying, what is my part of it? And what can I do that I can truly control versus how do I blame everyone else for all the things that can't happen or hasn't happened? Or
That's right.
And that's that is a lifestyle, by the way, change a decision, because then you apply that to other things of, and I'm not saying I do this perfect, but you walk around your house and you see a piece of plastic on the floor. Do you pick it up? Or do you look to blame whoever put it there and look for them to pick it up? And it's kind of like, anyway, I think those little things, it transcends. And I got a lot of growth to do in that, if that's the example that I just gave, because I do walk by that piece of plastic probably 15 times before I'm like, I'll just pick it up. Anyway, I love it. Thank you for sharing that. Listen, shameless plug time for you. Who should get now? If you're listening, don't you dare hang up. This is the moment. This is the climax. And when you get to learn and how and who should get a hold of Rishi. Who should get a hold of you, and how do they do that?
Well, I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. The best way to connect with me will be on LinkedIn. Connect with me, find me on LinkedIn under my name, Rishi Khanna. But also, if you want to connect with me through email, I can give you my email address. It's rkhanna@ishir.com, ishir.com. I know it's a whole lot of things to remember, but I'm sure you'll have it in the comments.
Well, I hope so. But I just don't type that fast. And then I would stop talking for a minute while I fixed all my typos. And then it just would be like, what's going on in the background? He just stopped talking. And he never does that. That's why. So I hope so. Rishi, thanks for coming on today. I appreciate your time. And
thank you for having me.
Yeah. And listen, your time and insight. And I absolutely love your story of how you've built your company and where you're going with it. Because it only sounds like it's going to get better and better and better. I am going to put you now in the periwinkle room. That's the color I think that comes out through this. There's no snacks in there. It's just digital. Enjoy the time. I'll see you in a couple minutes. Everybody who made it this point in the show, thank you so much for listening and listening to Rishi's story. You should reach out to him. You can get a hold of him at LinkedIn at Rishi, R-I-S-H-I, Khanna, K-H. Don't forget the H, Khanna. Find him on LinkedIn. Pretty easy to get to. And ishir.com, which is also on the screen here. Oh, listen, guys, get out there. Go cut ties. Don't let anything hold you back. If it's something you believe, something that you think is in your way, go solve it. If you keep hitting a wall, go around the wall, go over it. Sometimes you can't go through it. Sometimes you got to do things. And that's how you get better at life. That's how you get better at entrepreneurship. And that's what we're here to help you go do. So until we meet again, get out there, go unleash your entrepreneur. Thank you so much for listening.